We greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 12 of The Monk of Wittenberg, the story of Martin Luther. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is brought to you by the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.
I really must have a little more wine.
Well, hand me your glass.
I do not think I have recovered yet from the terrible day we had at court yesterday. Thank you, cousin. You are so robust.
If you were not my cousin, Heinrich, I should find your company obnoxious. No doubt Cardinal de Vio would find your horror of Luther praiseworthy. But I, for one, wish you would increase your stamina or stay home from court.
How can you talk to me so harshly when you know I am sick?
Oh, my pardon.
Oh, I shall never forget the shock on the cardinal's face when that monk walked right out of court, right in the middle of a dispute yesterday. It was insufferable of him.
I thought it was perfect. Retract or return no more. And so, the lowly monk bowed, turned on his heels, and left the hall.
What are you saying?
What I mean. And it served your precious cardinal right. He wouldn't let Luther get a word in without interrupting him.
Oh, why do you always have to torment me?
Heinrich, this court is so used to indolence and deceit, accustomed to tricks and traps, that we are helpless before an honest man's charges.
I do not understand you. I do not understand you.
I'm sure you don't. What miserable cheats we are to pretend that this is a fair dispute. Everyone but the monk knows that it's all a sham. And, well, he's no fool. I'm sure that yesterday was the third and last meeting of the Cardinal and Luther. I hope he leaves Augsburg directly before worse treachery comes to him.
I wish you would talk about something else. My head aches.
Well, my heart aches. Auf Wiedersehen, cousin.
Where are you going? Karl! Cousin!
Perhaps to Wittenberg with the monk. Tell the cardinal.
The cardinal has been waiting to see you since dinner, Dr. Stoppitz.
I am truly sorry to have kept His Holiness waiting, but I did not receive his message until a short time ago.
He will understand. Your Excellency, Dr. Staupitz is here.
Please come in, Dr. Staupitz. Welcome, dear doctor. No, do not kneel. You're an old man and a dear son. Be seated.
Thank you, worthy father.
You must have already assumed that I have summoned you about your monk Luther.
Yeah.
I know you've released him from his Augustinian vows, but your influence over him is mighty. How good it is that such a impetuous man has so pious a friend. Dr. Staupitz, prevail upon him. Induce him to retract. Really, in other respects, I'm well pleased with him. He has no better friend than myself.
I have already done so, and I will advise him to submit to the Church in all humility.
You will have to reply to his arguments he derives from Holy Scriptures.
I must confess, my lord, that is a task beyond my ability. Dr. Luther is superior to me both in genius and in knowledge of the Holy Scriptures.
Are you aware that, as a partisan of a heretical doctrine, you are yourself liable to the penalties of the Church?
If, worthy father, you would resume conference with Luther and order a public discussion of the controversial points, perhaps it would be more clear as to exactly what is heretical.
No, I will no longer dispute with him. Take care for yourself, Doctor, what you say to the Pope's representative.
I am your servant, Father, as I am Christ's. I shall try to induce Luther to submit to the Church. But, Father, I beg you to transmit to Luther in writing what it is that he is required to retract.
Very well, Dr. Staupitz. You sing the same song as Luther does, except that you are an obedient son of the Church.
I am, Father, and want always to be. I shall entreat Martin to submit to the Church.
Martin!
Philip, my cautious, quiet bookworm. Can it be that you are running and out of breath? What has happened? I fear the devil is after you.
Just all you like. It is wonderful that you are here. Brother Christopher woke me up with the news that you had arrived in Wittenberg in the dead of last night.
Did he tell you he is the first doorkeeper I ever had to bellow for an hour to wake up? If it had not been for his snores, I would have thought the door unattended and been reconciled to spending a night in the garden.
You look thinner, Martin.
Well, it is hard work to arouse that brother.
Oh, Martin, tell me about Augsburg. Staupitz gave us all the happenings up to your third conference with the cardinal when he left. Did the Vio send you the doctrines you ought to recant?
No. I waited as long as I could for them. Then I sent Link to His Excellency in asking for them. The Vio told Brother Link that he no longer regarded me as a heretic and that unless he received other orders from Rome, he would not excommunicate me. He said if I would only retract what concerns indulgences, the matter would soon be finished. But no documents came back with Link.
Did he really mean what he said?
Staupitz told Brother Link that he should have asked the cardinal to put it in writing.
I suppose you did not get to debate at all.
The cardinal would not allow me to dispute, publicly or privately. He kept saying that he desired to be a father to me, not a judge. But what he really wanted was to hear one thing from me. I retract and acknowledge my error. Oh, Philip, I cannot lie against the truth.
What did he do when all of your conferences at court came to a deadlock?
Well, he has written the Pope, for one thing. And he sent for Staupitz and ordered him to try to persuade me to recant.
Poor Dr. Staupitz. What did he do?
What he was told.
You do not mean that he seriously tried to influence you to compromise?
He has been a faithful monk for a long time, Philip. And he will die an obedient son of the church. It is good. Wars are not for old men.
You ought to appeal to the Pope. The Vio will excommunicate you, and then it will be too late.
Well, the last thing I did before leaving Augsburg was to write to the Holy Father. I sent a letter through the prior of Palmsall. At the same time, I wrote the cardinal that I was referring all this unsettled business to the Pope in order that the church may decide, pronounce, and ordain.
I am surprised that the Vio permitted you to leave Augsburg.
Well, he would have had to shout louder than the archangel for me to have to herd him on the road to Wittenberg.
You did not leave without his permission.
It was a very organized plan. Staupitz had left me a pony, and a brother brought it around to the convent door at night. The city magistrate sent me a guide, and one of the city councilors ordered that the gate be opened for me. So I rode out, without bridle, without boots, without spurs, without permission.
Martin!
Philip!
Oh, it is not only offending the cardinal. What if something had happened to you on the way back? Robbers or...
Oh, Philip, as I passed through the village and rural districts, inhaling the fragrant breezes, I felt free and safe for the first time since I arrived at Augsburg.
I am surprised that Augsburg was not hot on your heels.
David's words came back to me again and again as I rode along. Our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. The snare is broken and we are escaped.
Yeah, our help is in the name of the Lord, who made heaven and earth.
Here, get away from that meat, you black beast. You'd better run if you know what's coming to you. Oh, no, you need not waggle your tail around me. Get away, I say, get... the sausages are fresh today, Herr Brueggemann. That one is 10 pfennig.
You are not busy today, Mother?
No, it is late. We are packing up soon. The market has been slow all day, and I am freezing.
I will take these two.
Certainly, thank you. I'll just put some string around them for you. Have you been ill, Herr Brueggemann?
No, indeed. I've been to see my new grandson in Augsburg.
How is the little child?
All I saw of him, he's the healthiest mite I ever saw. Luther was in Augsburg. The time I was there, and I was out to the Cardinal's embassy every day, trying to get a glimpse of him.
How is it going with you?
He's going to be all right. No thanks to the Cardinal.
What What do you mean he is going to be... Hey! Get out of there! Shoo! 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 Oh, that dog. I told my husband I would drown him. You were saying Luther would be all right?
I believe he will be safe, for the time at least.
My son says the Pope has already sent an envoy to seize him and deliver him to Rome. He will be burned there.
Nonsense. If all Rome had to worry about was an honest monk, then Luther would be in danger. The Holy Roman Empire is in troubled times. This will save him.
You mean because of the death of our emperor?
Oh, partly. Who's to be our next king concerns the Pope far more than his quarrels with Luther.
It is good that Luther's elector Frederick is the temporary administrator of Germany until the new king is decided upon. My son says Frederick has always tried to protect Luther.
It certainly is good.
Do you think if Pope Leo asked for Luther, Frederick would hand him over?
Never fear. The Pope won't ask for Luther as long as Frederick's in power. He can't afford to displease him.
These are such bad times. My son says many of the German princes are fighting one another.
In some of the territories, the bishops are enlisting peasants to fight against the princes of their confederations. The conflict over which is supreme, the church or the king, it grows worse.
It is dreadful. But if all the troubles make it safe for Martin Luther, then we should say a few glorious for that, eh?
We should, Mother. See, it's beginning to snow. I must be going home. Thank you for the sausage, Judge.
Thank you for the news. And Herr Bruckerman, if you should see our black dog on the road, give him a kick back to the market, will you?
I gave orders that I was not to be disturbed. No, Martin, I have news from Rome.
Elector, I cannot help feeling that it is disgraceful that Rome should set so high a value upon me. They would give a heap of crowns to have me in their clutches, while our Lord Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver.
You promised the cardinal that you would submit to the decisions of the Roman Church?
Yeah.
The Pope has caused a declaration to be published in Germany, which confirms the doctrines of indulgences. There is no mention of you in the communique.
Confirming indulgences. It is incredible.
All the crying abuses that infect our fatherland are legalized.
I cannot submit to this. I never dreamed the Holy Father would do such a thing. Thank God I appealed.
You what?
Well, my appeal to Rome accomplished nothing. So on November 28th, from the chapel of Corpus Christi at Wittenberg, I appealed from the Pope to a general council of the Church. So many churchmen are against the corruption in the Church. I know if we can have a council, I would have many supporters.
Martin, do you realize what you are doing?
I think so.
You are putting the matter before the whole Church of Christ. It will no longer be your conscience against Rome, but your quarrel will become a matter of conscience to every living Catholic. Every man will have to decide himself whether the truth of the gospel lies with Rome or with Luther.
With Rome or with the word of God.
And so we conclude Chapter 12 of The Monk of Wittenberg, the story of Martin Luther. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and is brought to you transcribed from the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.